Which contender poses the biggest threat to the champion of each division? At flyweight, it's 100% Joshua Van. He's coming off a fight of the year contender against Brandon Royval and also had a dominant win like 3 weeks before that fight even happened. He got a face-off against Pantoja, which basically confirms that that's the next fight, and it looks like it might happen before the end of 2025. At bantamweight, it's still Umar Nurmagomedov. Even though Merab just beat him a couple fights ago, I think he's still the biggest threat to Merab and maybe the only threat to Merab. I think Umar with more conditioning work and obviously striking work, I think the grappling's always going to even out, and they're not really going to be able to do anything to each other in that department, so it's always going to be a striking fight. And I think with Umar improving his cardio and his striking, he's got a legit chance to beat Merab in the rematch. At featherweight, it's Movsar Evloev still. Even though he's pulled out like more than he's fought, I think he's the biggest threat to Volkanovski's reign. I know a lot of people say Jean Silva, but I think he hasn't been fraud checked yet. I think his fight against Diego Lopez could be a fraud check. I think Diego Lopez is still a legit contender that could beat Volk in a rematch. So I think Diego Lopez wins that fight against Jean Silva. And Movsar Evloev's style of just dominant wrestling, constant takedowns, could be something different for Volk that he hasn't seen yet. And I think if they fought, I have Movsar Evloev winning that fight by decision. At lightweight, it's an obvious answer, but it's an answer nobody wants to admit. Arman Sarukian's the toughest fight for Ilia Topuria, and I think Ilia knows that, and that's why he's downplaying him so much. Ilia loves to fight Justin Gaethje or would love to fight Paddy. He's super favored. They're great matchups for him. Arman's a terrible matchup. Arman's a legit number one contender who would probably be favored against most champs pound for pound wise. And I think he's the toughest fight for Ilia. And Ilia's just straight up ducking him, acting like he doesn't exist. And I think it's for a good reason. Arman's legit.